It was a good win. Lamar's a great team. They have some very talented players that, quite frankly, kept us on our toes the entire match. You know, from a personnel standpoint, anytime you can go into a match prepared and you're on the same page, not just with the players who happen to be starting that game, but with the players that you know, come in and contribute and have good performances from that depth on your roster, it's a good thing. And we had that. All of our team, from those that started to those that came in, they were all prepared to compete. We're all on point and absolutely contributed to the outcome. And it was really exciting to see how we dominated possession, because that's a big piece of how we play the game. Dominated territory, that's another big piece in how we play the game. And so when you're able to impose yourself on another team while sticking to kind of your core principles and values, you'll be in a position to be successful. And then we scored some fantastic goals. So all around, intensity was high, competitive character was high, preparation very good, and then ultimately good depth from the roster, and got a lot of players' minutes that have earned them. And so again, that's always a good thing.
You score early like that, Coach. Megan said y'all scored fairly early in that game, within the first 10 minutes.
Yep.
When you do that, Coach, how much pressure does that put on the opposing team, and how much does that allow you to kind of impose your will on them?
Well, I tell you, it's a good question, and quite frankly, the way that we play in a possession-style game, we enjoy sustaining possession for 20, 25 seconds a sequence. If we can get above that 15 to 20 second mark and sustain possessions, you know, we're making it difficult for the other team on several different levels. And when you give up an early goal, you ultimately have to get the ball back in order to establish yourself. And if you're playing a good possession team on a great surface, which Lamar's surface was fantastic, then you end up chasing the game. And you can point to different parts of our season where we've seen that. And really, to be fair, the only time that I felt that we chased a game was against Arizona State back in early September, and that's a very good team, and they scored early. And then it was up to us to make sure we maintained possession. But once we lost possession, we had to get the ball back, and so we had to change our shape to do so. And it leads to all kinds of other issues and solutions that you've got to come up with. So scoring early allows you to impose yourself, and if you're a possession team, it allows you to play the way you want to play. And it does take a little bit of edge off from a nerve standpoint.
This week, Houston Baptist here, and then at Sam. Your thoughts on those two big games? Obviously, one a huge rivalry game.
Sure. I mean, HBU, Houston Baptist, know the coaching staffs at both programs. HBU is picked in the middle of the table of the conference. Is going to be motivated. They're going to be ready to get after it. They're going to come here. It's a big game for them. It's a big game for Sam. You know, rivalry game there, as you said, on the road. So, you know, they're both games I feel we match up well athletically. I feel that our schemes and the way that we play the game will allow us to do some things. Ultimately, we've got to be focused. We've got to have a good week of training. We've got to be prepared to compete. And I think that if we do that, you know, we'll have opportunities to win both of those games. But, you know, you're naive if you think that at this level, Sam Houston's not going to do good things. If you think HBU is not going to come in and have great moments. I mean, both teams will have moments against us. And the team that can absorb the other team's moments and make sure they capitalize on their chances will be successful. There's no doubt. But two fantastic games.
And last question: a big rivalry game like that against Sam Houston. I asked Megan, obviously they're going to be really hyped up to play a rivalry game, but then at the same time, how do you stay even keel and not make the mental mistakes or busts that could lead to a goal for them? So, same question to you. Would you talk to your players at all about being mentally sharp in a big rivalry game like that?
Well, we want to be mentally sharp, regardless of game. And, there's no doubt they'll be up for it. And I tell you, this team, I have complete trust from a character standpoint in this group, and that they'll be ready to compete and they'll do the best they can. And, the one game that they didn't, we discussed it, we've learned from it, and we've moved on. And so there's no doubt in my mind we'll be ready to compete and get after it. Now, what you got to make sure is you don't begin to over-pursue. You don't begin to rely on emotion and energy to win these games, because fact is, at this level, you're not going to win games based on emotion. emotion will put you in a position to execute. It may help you for intermittent periods throughout a match. But to think that we've got to be up for a game in order to win a game, well, we got to make sure we compete, and then from there we got to make sure we execute. And there's going to be emotional parts of the game. They're going to be two intense games for sure. But the team that's more emotional isn't necessarily going to win this game. It's going to be the team that executes their game plan. It's going to be the team that looks at their schemes and who can absorb what the other team does well. Because both teams that we're playing will do good things against us.
You mentioned over there in the luncheon, we're at the point in conference now that you really start to see some separation among the top teams. With the non-conference schedule that you had, and you see some of these other teams that maybe are undefeated or
Sure.
like a Nicholls State that maybe didn't have the non-conference schedule that you guys had. What's it mean to have the preparation in the non-conference schedule as we begin to separate here in the middle stretch of the conference?
No, it's a great question, and I think this weekend is going to be a weekend where teams begin to separate. Excuse me. And with the non-conference schedule that we have, and this is something that we're committed to as a philosophy in this athletic department, we want to make sure we measure ourselves against the best possible competition, home or away, every chance that we get, because we feel that is in line with our goals and our process to achieve those goals. Other programs may have a different philosophy, and that's great. If it works for them, it works for them. But what I will tell you is from a preparation standpoint, being in big games, being in games that define seasons, we have been in those games several times throughout this non-conference slate. So an experienced team we have, a team that can help balance emotions and understand the emotional demands of big games. I think we have experience there. Not to mention in the last several games and weeks, we've been able to get more players playing time. We've been able to go deeper into our roster and make sure that we have options at all levels and all positions and most of our schemes. And I know that there are other teams that haven't had the opportunity to do that. So we're fortunate there. And there's no doubt that our preparation, our non-conference schedule put us in a position to be able to do that. So I'm excited about it. I think we're in a good position. I think that we've managed our roster well. We've spread our minutes well. And I think that from a physical standpoint, we're really well positioned to make a great run in October.